Back now on Triad Today, and I'm so glad to have this special guest with us. And I was going to say we welcome her to Triad Today, but it's kind of strange because if you see on the wide shot, we're not in the Triad Today. I mean, we're in a different place. We're in the school system studio, so she ought to be welcoming us. We're with Superintendent Tricia McManus, and thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I know you graduated from the University of South Florida. You later became Assistant Superintendent of Hillsborough Schools, so I'm assuming you were born and raised in Florida.
I was born and raised in Tampa, Florida.
Florida girl.
Yes.
Now, who or what led you to choose a career in education? Who sort of planted that bug in you?
So my father both of my parents have degrees in education. And my father was a physical ed teacher for his entire career, and that was over 40 years. He was also a football coach and a head high school football coach,
Wow.
winning his coach in Hillsborough County up until after he passed. Somebody then beat the record, but he was an amazing educator, and so obviously the stories that he told, the summers we would spend in the gym with him, and just it was just in the blood. And as a result, actually of the 8 children in my family, I'm one of 8, 5 of us are educators.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you knew from an early age that that's what you wanted to get into.
Yeah, but it became more clear. I knew it, but as I started teaching, my purpose became more clear. Like the calling became more clear to me. But I knew I loved teaching and wanted to be a teacher. But it wasn't until I got further into my career that I realized, yeah, this is what I'm really meant to do. And
with a little bit of different twist and turn in your life, I might be sitting here interviewing Coach McManus. You don't know. You know, got that from your dad. Well, let's be serious for a second about your new role here. And I say new because we haven't met until today. Your first big challenge as superintendent was guiding us through the pandemic, which isn't even done yet. We transitioned, we had in-person learning and lockdowns, and now we're dealing with vaccines and anti-vaxxers and masking and when not to mask. Give me your assessment of how the school system has weathered the COVID storm so far.
Yeah. Well, last school year, I will say that our staff, and this is, across school-based staff, district staff, really just rose to the occasion with response to everything from feeding our families when we were not in school to as we started returning, making sure that our schools were equipped to return in a safe manner, from every single protocol, every single marking, from removing furniture, changing classrooms. That was a huge amount of work, from our custodians keeping buildings clean to, everything. Just every staff were absolutely amazing. It was not an ideal situation. Many of our students last year struggled. Even to yesterday, I had parents whose children are back now who said, I am so glad we're back because my child really struggled last year with the isolation, with not being in school for the full year. And so as a result, our results as far as academic results have declined.
You're going to have to put an asterisk by that or something because that's nobody's fault.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It happened everywhere. It happened across the country, but it still is impactful to our students. And then a lot of issues around trauma and mental health and families dealing with loss, and just all the changes that occurred are real for our students as they returned this year. And so, as you said, it's not over. We are still dealing with COVID and just with all of the protocols and procedures that come with that. But I would say that I feel that, you know what, all those challenges that we are educators, and educators are strong and resilient, and we are here for our students. And I think the fact that we know our purpose and that we are here for our students keeps us moving forward, even amidst the challenges.
Right, and I'll say as a disclaimer that the superintendent and I were both, there's my mask, we were both masked up as we came in the building, and we're both fully vaccinated and socially distanced, so we're doing this without mask on. As you know, there are currently more guns in circulation in America than there are people. It's one of the saddest statistics I've ever come across, 300 and some million guns. So it's no surprise that students everywhere have access to guns that they didn't used to have access to. What steps are you taking to try to at least keep them out of the schools?
Yeah, so I think one of the steps we're taking, and this isn't keeping them out, but from what I understand, guns have been in schools. Based on those statistics, those are not brand new.
Right.
They've been in schools. The good news now is that every time we've had one, they're being reported. At least every time I know we've had one, they're being reported. And so when kids know something, they're saying something, and that's amazing. They're reporting it to law enforcement, they're reporting it to others. And so I think that is a good way, because the more that kids know, and that, you know, someone's going to say something, and then the result of this is going to not be good.
Right.
And even though none of those guns, other than the one incident this year, are kids intending to use on campus, they have them, and then they end up in a lot of trouble. And so, so saying something is really important, and I think that's helping, in addition to a lot of social, emotional learning and other things that will help with the preventative part of that.
We have a few seconds left. I'll put you on the spot. What's the most gratifying thing about your job?
I was enjoying that moment today. It's being in classrooms with kids. It's seeing our students smiling. It's seeing them engaged in learning. It's seeing staff interacting with them in a positive way. And so that's what it's all about, our students being successful.
I know you've been running like crazy and being pulled in so many different directions, classrooms, meetings, problems to solve, crises to deal with. So I appreciate the few minutes that you spent with us here, and I hope we'll do it again.
Thank you. I hope so too.